Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's really exciting to be here, and I know that we've got a lot of customers, we've got partners, and we've got the media. So I just want to again say welcome because as Ken mentioned, I'm Vicki Case, and I lead our e-commerce business. And really, my role and my team's role to be successful is to be challenged. I like Jerome's word, to be challenged by you, to really watch over and be a participant in how e-commerce is changing. And we have to have these events in order for us to all succeed. So I'm really pleased to be able to share with you. What I'm going to cover today are three important topics, three things that perhaps keep us awake at night, three things that every day that shape our e-commerce world and are moving, and we don't always know what direction that they're moving in. So I'm going to take us through those. The first one is really that I'm going to go through is the state of e-commerce. I'm going to follow with some of the things that Jerome and Ken had shared around shipment expenses, perhaps an elephant in the room. I know we've covered it a few times, a big issue for many of us. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about automation, and Ken touched on really optimizing the assets that we all have, whether they're human or capital. So, like I said, I'm going to start with the state of e-commerce, and I think one of the things that we all read about, and I'm hesitant to show this, but because here we're talking everything electronic, so I'm confessing to you that I actually still receive a physical paper. But one of the things that's been coming up in the news lately is are bricks and clicks going to win, or pure play retailers going to win this war? Right, so in this newspaper, they're talking about, maybe some of you read this, Amazon, based on market cap, took over as the top retailer from Walmart. But some of you probably read another article that said Amazon will not win as a pure play. They're going to have to make an acquisition. They're going to have to go into the bricks and clicks world. So what does this mean? You know, you can read something each day that means the opposite. What it means is they're both going to win. What's going to happen is Amazon's going to have to participate in the bricks and clicks world, and Walmart's going to have to become better at e-commerce. So what that means is we all have to be so adaptable in the way that we ship. And it's interesting, Ken touched on omni-channel and how important that's becoming. In the slide here that I'm showing, today, if you look at 93% of all commerce is conducted physically, what we're going to see is that's going to drop to 81%. But like I mentioned, in the next 5 years. But what's going to happen is customers are expecting flexible means to get their products. And we'll talk a little bit more about what omni-channel means if you haven't read all the press on that lately. But the good news is if you're not in it now, not many people feel very confident about being able to participate in that area and deliver in these challenging ways. So in that graphic, it's basically showing 5% of respondents from a rather large survey said they didn't feel confident yet that they're ready to participate. We talk about a little bit more about really what are these delivery demands. I know this slide is difficult to see, but it's basically for many of you, it's the different means in which you can ship product. So what you've got is you've got store pickup at the top, you've got different types of fulfillment centers, integrated ones. Shipping actually from the store, Ken touched on that, vendor fulfillment centers. And this is the takeaway. So you say, hey, why does that matter to me? But this is a quote that maybe many of you in this room could have made. You know, you've got people out there who are not shipping experts. We haven't taken time to train them, but we're expecting them to do this for us. And so what we need, what many supply chain executives said, we really need to provide the tools and training so that they become experts in a very, very short time. So, I mean, I'm proud to say that Sealed Air is here to help with exactly that. That's who we are. Ken has said it, Jerome has said it, so I won't go into that too much more. But I think that the interesting thing here is regardless which way the market goes, if we see more retailing, more e-tailing, the bottom line, it's all going to happen, and we're all going to see it play out. So choose a partner, see what we've got to offer. And of course, I'm the only thing standing between you and being able to actually see these systems. But you'll see that we're going to help you build those capabilities. And that's very powerful because we know it's changing quickly. The next thing I want to talk about is really delivery and the shipping, the elephant that I mentioned, shipping expense. And I think we all know this, that it's a huge expense. I live in the metro New York area, and it's interesting because I can order stuff today and get it later this afternoon. Maybe some of you live in a major market and can do that as well. So I want it fast, I want it free, and I want the price of the goods that I'm buying to be the cheapest too. So can I have everything? Probably not, and that's something we're all going to face right now. What's going to happen as other customers, as we face incredibly and increasing shipping costs? So if you look at what's happening, and I'm sure all of you as consumers and all of you in this industry look at, I think if you look at this graphic here, it's showing that between just over the course of 1 year, that customers are offering free shipping 50% more just in 1 year. Right, so they're using free shipping as a way. We all know it. I mean, I don't buy stuff unless I can buy it. I can get it shipped to me free. So that trend's continuing. I think many of you may have read where the retailers are dropping the floor of what it takes to get free shipping down to $25, right? So not much, and they're setting an expectation. But the interesting thing is this quote from another supply chain executive said, "People are very inefficient." And how long can this really last? Because if you look at this quick snapshot of Amazon last year, they took in $3.1 billion in shipping fees, and you know what it cost them? $6.6 billion. They left over $3 billion on the table. So what do you think they're going to do about it? Right? They're going to start to be creative, just like as Ken mentioned, our couriers are getting very creative in trying to extract more value from us. So we really need to address that. And it's interesting to look, and for all of you, perhaps the same thing is true. Amazon, I think since, it's going to test my memory, since 2005, their shipping costs have gone up 25% every single year. And their growth has not quite been that good. So what does this mean to you? Because if you look also, the last thing I would just share is that if you look at packages and the SKU count per pack, I think it's around 1.2 per box, and it's been showing that it's falling per order, I should say. But we don't know which way that's going to go. So what does that mean? Sometimes if you want it quick, you might expect the trend to be that, okay, I will design it for delivery up front, and we're pleased as a company to participate in that space and to work with you to participate in that space, to design it at the upfront so that it can ship. Ken talked about core view. That's an option. As you talk about perhaps that push now to say put more stuff in a box before it gets shipped, that focuses more on some of the solutions, and I'm looking to some of my B+ new family members, some of the products that they offer address exactly that need to basically create the best size box for multiple items going to a consumer. So the good news is, which way is it going to go? We all as people want everything, but I'll say this, Sealed Air is in a unique position to offer you solutions that can get your products quickly, they can get your products so that they are optimized for shipment. So you're going to see some of that, and it's exciting. The last thing I want to cover is, I always wanted to come up here and say to be or not to be, and instead, my exciting life, I get to say to automate or not to automate, which is the second favorite line of mine. But many of you it may be a silly question. Maybe you look at that and say, of course I need to automate. But I think a lot of you in this room might say something, and Ken also mentioned it, it's unclear where I should put my money because I have such peaks and valleys in the way my demand comes in. Where should I invest my money? And also, it's interesting, as I'm out and about across the globe talking to different people, it's interesting. Sometimes automation isn't necessarily related to labor cost, but labor availability, quality. I'm seeing shaking heads. Quality of the labor that's out there, and being able to dispatch it in time. So I think Ken said it also. We are in a position to offer not only terrific automation options, whether you're looking for full automation, whether you're looking for work cell automation, or whether you're looking for adaptable, I'll call it optimization that are automation that basically you can use when you need it to optimize your assets. Those are some things that you can count on from Sealed Air. So if you look at, for example, and here's what I'm going to say as we kind of round this out. I want to stand between you too much between now and when you can see some of these exciting solutions that we have for you. You know, we've talked a lot about when we as a company as Sealed Air, and I'm sure you as well, when you think about labor savings and our ability to use labor efficiently, that drives a lot of the value that we'll extract together. We've spent a lot of time talking about shipment expense and reducing that. So again, we can extract some value there. The one thing that we've touched on, but I want to say it's almost I hate to use the word paradigm shift, but it's a very powerful concept. And that is, if you look at this graphic that I'm showing, you might say, why am I showing the different order values by these are subsectors of e-commerce? Why is that interesting? And I'll tell you this: one of the things that when we look at specifically, we're going to look at the auto mailer, some of the systems that we have that really have the ability to speed up your operation. Instead of always looking at cost cutting and being able to get each package out the door, that value metric, I'll call it, of speeding up and basically being able to get more packages out the door with some of these solutions can really drive top line. I think Ken said it, but you can see how if you're getting out, for example, if you look at if you're fulfilling in the home improvement area, or if you're looking at electronics, if you can just get 10% more orders out the door, you're in it's an order of magnitude difference of what you're able to accomplish for your business if you want to grow it. So for us, this is so powerful because, of course, we spend a lot of time optimizing from a labor perspective, from a freight perspective. But we really all need to take a long, hard look at what can we do as we speed up things to really drive growth in your business. Because we know that lots more business is going to be transacted this way, and it's important to be prepared. So for me, when I looked at this, and I'll just share one example because I was just in a customer last week where we looked at being able to speed up, and you forgive, it's a really specific example, but we were looking at speeding up their fulfillment by 1%. 1%. And they shared that the per pack cost, they said their ability to get more margin was like 70 cents a gross margin a package. And it was for them, the light went off, and they really, they asked us back right away, so we definitely like that. But and we have many examples of where this ability to automate, I'm sure many of you have that too, but where you just you can taste the money, you can feel it, and I hope you keep that in mind as you look at some of our solutions. And what I want to say basically in closing, before I turn it back to Gerd, is that the e-commerce market is going to continue to change, and we're all going to be watching over it. We've got media friends here who are sharing that news every day with us. But that's exactly, I'm sure that as you listen to Jerome, as you listen to Ken, we're spending a lot of time, valuable time and investment to make sure that we're changing with the market, that we're not just waiting for it to change, we're helping it change. Very, very, very powerful. So whether your problem is, I kind of look at it this way, whether you have a small need to fill, whether you have a big problem to fix, like the Ken mentioned, our 4 pillars, if you will, that we've been talking about, or whether you want us to truly change your business with some of the things that we talked about, Sealed Air is here for you. So with that, I just again want to say thank you for coming. I look forward to showing you some of the things that we'll have as we move out to the area after this. And again, thank you for your attention. I'm going to turn it back over to Gerd.